It has now been 10 days and I have had approximately 0 carbs. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my 10-day carnivore diet experiment. I did a day 5 update video. Make sure to check that one out. And I'm going to review that a little bit. I'm going to expand on what I've learned. And I was going to go 14 days and I decided to peel it back at 10. I got all the data I needed to collect and I decided to make a video on this and cut it off. And I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly of the carnivore diet. But before I get there, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell indicator to get notified every time I drop an awesome video like this one. Okay, carnivore diet. Here's the deal. I'm gonna try to go through this as quickly as I can, but I can't guarantee that. Much like a Quentin Tarantino movie, as I say it all the time, I'm gonna be bouncing around. Let me talk to you about the benefits, let me talk to you about the concerns I had, the warnings I have, and then how you can utilize the carnivore diet going forward. As you can see, I'm wearing this weighted vest because myself and my significant other Jen are training hard for the Rim to Rim to Rim Grand Canyon Ultra Hike next month. We're about 5 weeks out right now. This was probably an inopportune time for me to even experiment with the carnivore diet. I probably should have done it in January or February or the winter when I tend to gain a little bit more weight and I have a little bit more to give. And I don't really care so much about my size or how much weight I actually have, excess weight I should say. Now, I'm trying to get as lean as I can and as strong as I can as we enter this hike, and we're doing a really hardcore training protocol right now. And in the winter, I still train hard, but I'm a little more relaxed with cardio and different things like that. Right now, our foot is completely on the gas. And the biggest problem I've had with the carnivore diet is with my workouts. But before I get to the workouts, I'm gonna talk to you about the benefits. My energy levels are through the roof. My brain function is through the roof. My ability to concentrate through the roof. Flexibility, I can touch the floor easily. 0 aches and pains, no muscle tightness, no muscle soreness, nothing. I had a couple little slight nagging injuries, like my elbow was a little bit sore, my lower back was a little bit sore before I went into carnivore. Absolutely gone right now, and I absolutely love that. If you remember in my 5-day video, I was talking to you about how miserable I was the first few days I started it, but that all started wearing off on about day 4, and day 5 actually, the day that I shot that video. Since then, it's been all peachy keen, and I absolutely love that effect the carnivore diet has afforded me. However, there are caveats and there are things that you should watch out for if you're gonna go strict carnivore. For example, if you have 30 or 50 or 70 pounds of weight to lose, maybe you can last the 6 months or 8 months or a year. And I had some trolls and bullies and asshats commenting on some of my short videos when I was mentioning I was doing carnivore diet, and they're like, oh, that's 5 days is nothing, 6 days is nothing, 10 days is a piece of cake. I've been doing it for a year. And then at the end, they would say, I lost 70 pounds, I lost 50 pounds. I'm like, okay, well, you have a tremendous amount of weight to lose. And I don't have, and didn't have, a tremendous amount of weight to lose. And I'm gonna put my before and after pictures up here right now. You can't really notice, but I lost 12 pounds in the 10 days that I did this diet plan. I went from about 185 pounds down to about 173. And you can mainly see it on my sides in the love handle area. Otherwise, it disperses through the body so you can't really notice it. If you wanna lose weight quickly, I think the carnivore diet is absolutely a great way to do it. If you want to do a reset and you're out of control with your diet, which I pretty much was, and I know this sounds a little weird, but I had a great diet plan. I was flexitarian going into this. I'm back to it now. But what's happening is after my second meal of the day, I would eat all these different treats that we have in our pantry. As you can see here, we have all different types of bars, and a lot of these are healthy, like Natural Bakers, and those Quest Puff bars with collagen in them, and we have some Luna bars, and we have all these little things. And after dinner, I would have not just 1, but 2, but 3, and I would start to accumulate more and more and more. And before you know it, I was overeating these treats that are healthy if you eat them in moderation, but if you eat too many of them, calories are calories, my friend, and the carbs add up and everything starts to add up, and I was starting to get a little bit out of control. So if you want to get from the place I was, if you're out of control with your diet, if you're eating too much, you're eating too many sweets, you're drinking too much alcohol, and you have the discipline and backbone to do it, then I would say yes, the carnivore diet is absolutely fantastic. You can do 7 to 10 days, use it as a reset, and by the 10th day, you're gonna be hankering for like a salad or cucumbers or vegetables or a piece of fruit or something that is considered healthy in most people's eyes. And when that time comes, you just have to execute discipline, and it's gonna feel so satisfying when you start eating the vegetables and the salad and the microgreens and all these things again, that you likely can stay on that and you're gonna be good to go. The bad news is I had very major struggles with my workouts. My aerobic capacity and my anaerobic capacity were just absolutely flat. And like I said in my last video, the first 3 days of this was miserable. I was falling asleep behind the wheel on the way home. I had to take naps in the middle of the afternoon and late morning. It absolutely sucked. I did not like that at all. But once I got past days like 4 and 5, my energy started to go up during the day. I had really good energy levels. They were flat. I wasn't having spikes and valleys. It was very smooth energy all day long. It was just my workouts were just killing me. These high intensity 2.5 hour workouts we were doing because, you know, we're wearing weighted vests and we're doing high intensity cardio. We're climbing the stairs up here in town. We're doing steep hills. We're doing stair machine at the gym. We're doing all this really intense stuff, and I'm doing high intensity beefcake circuit workouts in between those days. And that really took a toll on me. And I swear to you, every single day except, well, actually even today, getting up out of a chair, going upstairs, just doing routine things throughout the day, it felt like there was freshly poured cement in my legs. They were always tired, always labored. And today, once I broke my fast and went back to a normal eating schedule again, it all disappeared, just like that. And I feel like great right now. And I've been wearing my vest all day. I trained some clients with it on, walking around the house with it, and I feel absolutely tremendous. If you happen to be a high intensity exerciser and you're very serious like I am about it, then I'm not so sure this is the right diet plan for you, long term. Now, all the experts and all the influencers say, oh yeah, the carnivore diet is fantastic. You can get into ketosis, and once you get to a certain point, you're gonna be great and you're gonna be fine. But do you really have the discipline to get to that point? Do you really want to? Do you wanna like labor it out for 2 to 4 weeks before you even get to the benefits? And even if you do get to those glorious benefits, which I did, then what? I got a couple problems. Here's one of them. When I was eating my meals, it took about 10 minutes to prepare a meal and about 10 minutes to eat it. For example, one night I had flank steak. No, I did a flank steak. That came out really tough and chewy. It wasn't that good. I had a ribeye steak one night. I chopped it up. I put it into I sauteed it in beef tallow, doused it with salt. I put it in a bowl, and I had some other things with it too. I can't remember what it was, but it was absolutely amazing. It was delicious. But when I got finished, I started looking around and I'm like, what now? What next? I'm used to having a good source of protein, like a tuna steak or something, a baked organic yam, a portion of broccoli or cauliflower or some kind of cruciferous vegetable, and a salad all rolled into one. And none of that was there. I just had the meat. And then I felt like I wanted something more. I wanted something extra. And that was a big problem. That led me to urges of hunger and stuff. And in fact, I went to bed some nights absolutely starving. I woke up in the morning absolutely starving and ravenous. And when I was following my regular flexitarian diet, that wasn't happening. Probably because I had more vegetables, I had more fiber, and it was filling me up more, and it caused my ghrelin levels to stay down for a longer period of time and leptin to be up. Mind you, I was still following a very strict time-restricted eating protocol because, as you know, I work out in a fasted state, and I was eating pretty much in a 6 to 8 hour window every single day, and my meals were probably in that. My second meal was probably around the 800 to 900 calorie range. My first meal was probably maybe 500 calories. So I was eating very little calories compared to normal, maybe half as many, if that. Couple that with the fact that I literally had 0 carbs and I was just getting fat and protein and those minimal calories, and I definitely got into ketosis. That explains my weight loss. And generally I feel good throughout the day. However, it's just the workout issue that I had that bothered me the most. Now, if you're a generally, fit person and you have extra pounds, 10, 20 pounds to lose, and you work out maybe 3 days a week or something, I definitely think you can do the carnivore diet, and you could probably do it for a while too. And definitely if you're 70, 80 pounds overweight and you try the carnivore diet, it will definitely work. But then you have to think about the social aspect. Jen, my significant other, does not like meat. She doesn't even like the smell of meat in the house. She hasn't had meat since she was 5 years old. She's a pescatarian and she eats eggs. That's it. If your significant other or partner does not like meat or eat meat and you start cooking it in the house, you gotta take that into consideration too, as part of your social life. And then if they wanna go out to dinner, then what? You have to make sure you go to a restaurant and be very specific to them about what you can and can't have and what you want. We went to a place last weekend called Vessel Kitchen, which we really like in town here. And it took me basically 10 minutes to explain to the guy that I just wanted poke tuna with nothing on it. No seasonings, no shoyu, no nothing. And they wanted to put all the stuff on it. And I explained to them I was doing a carnivore diet, and I said nothing. And then steelhead trout, I said, can you prepare it with nothing? And literally they said, yeah, but it's gonna take a while to prepare. And I'm like, I don't know why it would take longer to prepare something with little ingredients on it. Anyway, me and Jen and her son Skylar, who was doing the carnivore diet with me, and his friend were all sitting at the table, eating our meals, and Jen and Skylar's friend were sitting diagonal to me, and they're just sitting there noshing away on sourdough bread and steelhead trout with all these vegetables underneath it, and spaghetti squash and mashed potatoes and corn. And they're just oohing and ahhing and moaning and groaning about how delicious the food was. And I'm smelling it and I'm looking at it and I'm just tapping my fingers like this the whole time, nervous as can be and edgy as can be, because I wanted it and I couldn't have it. And then they brought out our tuna, and it was a spindly little amount. I had a salt shaker and I doused it with salt, real salt that is, sea salt. And I'm eating it like one bite at a time, as slow as can be, to help try to stabilize my appetite. And then the steelhead came out and it was like a little strip of it. And I'm just sitting there miserable eating it. And it was so unenjoyable, it was unbelievable. The food tasted okay, but in the end of it, I kept thinking, how do you do this for 6 months and a year and everything else? Just think about all the events that occur in your life. Birthday parties, anniversaries, weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, list it, holiday parties. What happens when you go to those things? I see that as a big red flag, and I see it as a big deterrent from doing the carnivore diet long term. Also, I want to address some of these things on my table right here. First things first, these are one of my favorite foods in the whole wide world, and they were one of my favorite foods before I started the carnivore diet. These are pork rinds. These are authentic pork rinds. Not that the ones you buy in the store are not authentic, but the problem I have with those is they're super, super dry. Even the healthiest of healthiest ones. Epic, for example, is a good company, and they have pork rinds. However, they're so dry, you eat one and you have to like rinse your mouth out with water immediately, or you have to dip them into something to give them a little bit more flavor and pizzazz. These I get at a Mexican market locally here. As you can see, that's pretty thick. You know, people talk about nose to tail eating and trying to preserve the environment and eat all of the animal to help encourage environmental safety and all this kind of stuff. Well, this is about as close as you can get right here. That has fat attached to it with the skin. These are so delicious, it's unbelievable. They remind me of this treat my grandmother used to make when I was a little kid. I'm half Lithuanian. She was 100% full-blooded Lithuanian. And she used to get these chunks of lard. She had a container of lard. She would deep fry them and then put them on a plate, douse them with salt, and hand them to me and my brother when we were little kids and we go visit her up on the farm. She called them spagutis. It was a Lithuanian delicacy. It was literally fried lard in oil with salt on them. They tasted absolutely amazing, and the fat that I taste on these reminds me of those. And I'm so excited that I found these, it's unbelievable. You can only find this type of pork rind in an authentic Mexican market. So I would go looking around your local town to see if you can find a Mexican market and find these type of pork rinds, if you want something better than the other ones. Then I came across this company called Carnivore Snacks. These guys are legit. I got 3 different bags of things. These are called bison sliders. Actually, let me take one out and I'll show it to you. This is all I have that remains because I was chowing on them all the way through. Look like little discs, like that, see? Kind of remind me of the host I used to be given at church years ago when I used to be Catholic, except they were white. Anyway, I got these pork loin slices and these briskets made from beef. They were all very delicious, but these were probably my favorite of the 3. And they came in handy to add a little bit more bulk to my meals, my first meal of the day and second meal of the day. And then in the afternoon, I was used to drinking sparkling water. And because I was doing carnivore, I couldn't have regular sparkling water, even if it was 0 calories, because they had raspberry extract or blueberry extract in them or something like that. Because again, I was going strict. I wasn't doing the relaxed style carnivore, where some people allow little things in. I wanted to make sure I went completely strict, so I got all the full benefits or all the negative benefits, and I saw exactly what would happen. And this was a big lifesaver. Topo Chico. This stuff is actually amazing. It's very crispy. It's a very crisp mineral water. And it kind of filled me up more when I was done. And remember I said I had that feeling at the end of my meals where I was longing for something else? Shockingly, this was it. This is what I was looking forward to every single night. And it worked out well. Sometimes I was drinking 2 of those a day. Now let's shift gears and talk about disaster pants. If you remember in my 5-day overview, I was suffering from major disaster pants in the beginning. Well, guess what? It lasted all the way up until yesterday, day 10, and that was the first day I did not have disaster pants. And that is fantastic that I don't have it anymore. And I figured that would end after a couple days, but it lasted literally all the way through. And that wasn't fun at all. And again, the reason why that happens is because when you eat a high amount of protein and fat combined together, especially fat, your liver produces a high amount of bile and your body can't process it fast enough and your body goes into a bit of a laxative effect. And then you end up having bathroom incidents. As far as my sleep goes, I did sleep like a rock most nights. I was able to get up in the middle of the night a couple times, take my dog out, and then come back and go right back to sleep. And oftentimes, I'll get up in the night to pee and I'll come back to sleep and I can't get back to sleep. But this time it was different. I was able to really sleep deeply, and maybe that's a big reason why I was able to have so much energy during the day as well. So in that aspect, I really like that too. And we all know the importance of sleep and recovery and all that kind of stuff. As far as my strength levels go in the gym, I would say they're about equal. My skin feels smooth and soft, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I was eating a ton of fats and a lot of omega-3s as well. And I was doing it in a fasted state. I was working out in a fasted state like normal, and I lost weight. So all those things contribute to less aches and pains in the body and better brain function and better mood and all these other things. Okay, I rambled on long enough. Here's the bottom line. If you're looking to do like a really good reset, then I feel there's a time and place for the carnivore diet. Like if you're out of control with your junk food and your snacking, like I was mentioning before, then I would suggest trying it for 7 to 10 days. Use it as a stepping stone to get off any of your food addictions, or if you drink too much alcohol, or if you eat or drink late at night, or trying to get off soda or anything like that. You just have to make sure you have very ironclad discipline to do it and be willing to make some major sacrifices in a lot of areas of your life. And then when you come out 7 to 10 days down the road, you're going to be dying for a salad or some cucumbers or some broccoli or anything like that. And at that point, you have to execute discipline again and make sure that you eat clean. And I feel like this experiment is very much like fasting. I would say 10 days of the carnivore diet is much like a 4-day water fast. And I've done 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And I have a video on my latest 5-day fast from about a month ago, so check that one out as well. But I feel the benefits are kind of equal to those. If you're willing to make the sacrifices for 10 or 12 or 14 days, then by all means do the carnivore diet. But if you have the backbone to just bunk up and do water fasting for 3 to 5 days, I would suggest that. Because here's the deal. When I do fasting for multiple days in a row, which is called an extended fast or prolonged fast, my energy pretty much stays even keel. My hunger stays in even keel. On carnivore, I had a few jumps and spikes of hunger, and I was just absolutely ravenous, like I mentioned. But that never happens when I do fasting. I get a little spike in hunger, and then it drops right back down. But this hunger that I was feeling with the carnivore, I was ravenous multiple times for a long period of time. Minutes, even up to an hour. And I couldn't wait to eat. That has never happened when I fasted. I feel that the benefits are very similar, but you can get it done faster with fasting, and I feel just as good and just as energized and just as spry. And on a personal level, now that I've gone through this, I am going to be more cognizant of the amount of carbs I eat, especially my second meal, and where they're coming from and what they are. And I'm going to scale back all those extra treats I'm having. Even if they're organic, even if they're clean, even if they're vegan, it doesn't matter. Remember, calories are calories, and if you stack them up and you're overeating calories and overeating carbs, and you're getting more calories than you're burning throughout the day, even if you're doing time-restricted eating, you're still going to pay the consequences. And now that we have this big event coming up and summer's coming, I want to be as lean and flexible and strong as I can. So I'm going to come out of this with lessons learned and a completely different attitude. And that, my friends, is one of the hallmarks of success when it comes to your diet plan. Once again, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet, and hit that little yellow indicator button. Until next time, this is Kevin David Rail reporting live. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, or comments.